If you have any questions during the session, please do put them in the chat, but we will have an opportunity at the end for you to ask questions. So to get this started, I'd like to introduce John and Martin from TrackEd, who will take you through the next part of this session. So John and Martin, over to you.
Karen, thank you, and good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be here. It's great to have the opportunity to talk to you a little bit about the TrackEd solution. We have a few slides to go through, and then Martin is actually going to show you the platform, which I'm sure is something that you're all eager to see. So without further ado, I shall just get on and give you a brief introduction. To start with, let's just take a quick look at why we created this solution in the first place.
John, we're not seeing your slides. I don't know whether they've gone off because I started recording.
Hang on.
That's it. We're back. Thank you.
Good. Yes, I think it was the recording that...
Yeah.
Good. Lovely. Thank you. So, working with NES and our partners at NINET, and speaking to a number of schools, what we understood and recognised that as far as policy management and credential compliance was concerned, there was an enormous fragmentation, and it seemed most appropriate from the perspective of creating efficiency and productivity to create a solution that enabled policy management and compliance to be under one umbrella. It's what we call one single pane of glass, to reduce the number of different systems and platforms that you have to use to be able to fulfill the goals and outcomes that you're looking to achieve. What we like to do is to talk about this as an intelligence system. And the reason why we do that, you can break it into two parts. There is a tactical, operational, day-to-day, week-to-week solution that we have to support you doing the things that you need to do. But the other side of it is the intelligence of being able to plan and be proactive and receive information and reporting that takes you to a level of understanding, not just for where you are today, but where you're going to be in the future, and therefore help the decision-making process that you have to take the actions that are required. Critically, of course, particularly in the schools market, one of the things that we have really focused on is trying to understand where does the return on investment come from. And as part of the core benefits that the platform is providing, we believe that there are two very, very significant aspects for you to consider. One is productivity gains, and we'll talk about that a little bit in a minute in a bit more detail. But of course, where you've got efficiencies and productivity gains, what that's going to do is to provide the ability for you to be able to optimize the overhead that you have in administration and ensure that time is being spent where it is most needed, which fundamentally, of course, is around the educational aspects of a school's objectives, not necessarily the administrative. And in doing so, we also believe that there is a significant outcome in terms of reducing risk and liability, because you're going to have more visibility, more opportunity to be proactive, and, if I may say, audit ready, the opportunity that you will have to be able to mitigate for anything where there may be challenges, where there may be liabilities in the future, we believe we're very significantly supporting. Coming back to looking at productivity gains, what we've got here are four particular aspects, and there are many others, but I wanted to at least give you a flavour of what some of the productivity gains are. As you can see, there's four aspects here. Chasing evidence, if you will, of credentials, the duplication that you might have across different departments, different teams of people, the preparation for audits. We believe actually this solution provides you the ability to be audit ready at any time. And then, as another example, visibility for governors and a process to enable governors to be able to also have the ability to be able to look at and make comment and support the school with their own advice and guidance. We believe that policy and compliance management from a productivity perspective, that we're actually, with this solution, perhaps able to reduce the amount of time that's spent by administrative and teaching staff and employees overall by over 50%, perhaps even up to 70%. And what I would ask you to think about is, what does that relate to within your school with regards to the optimization of overhead and the opportunity that people have to be able to do other things which, quite frankly, may be of a greater priority? The proactivity of the risk reduction is enormous, minimizing small oversights, having the opportunity to see that in the future, and overall, and this is the intelligence aspect, increasing the leadership visibilities we discussed earlier, I think is really, really important and a big outcome from the platform. I know that within this audience today, there are representatives from MATS, and I wanted to at least provide some opportunity to talk about the key benefits for MATS as well. In short, we work on a parent-child basis where there is an aggregation of information from a dashboard and from a reporting perspective, whilst at the same time the MAT has the opportunity to be able to see how an individual school is performing around policy management and compliance, utilising their own dedicated platform. So a MAT has the ability to aggregate everything together, whilst at the same time being able to look at the individual schools and provide support to those individual schools around audit readiness and oversight and so on. With that, I'm now going to pass over to my colleague, Martin Cheetham, who actually developed this system, and he will take you through and give you an overview of some of the key functions.
Thank you, John. Let's go ahead and get stuck in. I'll go ahead and share my screen, and that should be coming through okay. So here we are within the Track platform. The objective today is to give you a high-level overview, a taste of what the platform is capable of, in line with the functionality, the benefits that John has just talked about, of course. We're logged in at the moment as a school business manager, business administrator, someone with that kind of responsibility for policies for the school or perhaps credentials. And what I really want to focus on with the time that we have today is showing you how we manage that full life cycle of policies. It's not just tracking the policies within the system, but we're also going to be showing you how we can implement the policies, so demonstrate that our staff actually have understanding of how those policies work and function within the school, how we review policies, how we can assign policies to our governors if they need to approve that documentation, all the way through to actually publishing the policy on the website as well and giving you the capabilities to do that. So of course, as John said, that single pane of glass view for managing everything in one place, we can get away from the SharePoint drives, the various emails that are going around. It simplifies the whole process. So this is the kind of access that I would have as a school business manager. All of the navigation at the top here. On the dashboard, you get a sense for the kind of information that we're tracking. So have we got any policies in draft that are perhaps pending a review? Have we got any policies that need to be acknowledged? In other words, implemented across some of our staff members in the school? Have we got any policies due for a review coming up within the 3 months? So of course, that's the system proactively monitoring whether we've got any policies that need to be reviewed coming up. So we don't miss those key dates. Let's go straight to policy management. And what I'm going to do here is show you that full life cycle. Let's go ahead and add a policy. We're just going to add one here, admissions policy, Blue Peter style. Here's one that I prepared earlier. Let's upload that into the system. And what I'm showing you is how we onboard policies. This is, of course, one by one. We do have systems to upload all the policies in one go and make it as easy as possible. I'm going to go ahead and allocate myself to this. Type the number of reviews between months between reviews for the policy. So typically 12, but we have a set of rules in the back end which provide guidance as to how often you should be reviewing policies as well. We build that in as part of the system. We set a review date as well. Let's go ahead and set it for the end of this week. And then there's two crucial aspects here: accepting feedback from staff on the policy, enabling display of the policy on your website. We give you that option. Obviously, there's some policies that you have to display on the website as a statutory requirement. There may be other policies that you keep internally. Accepting feedback from staff on the policy is another mechanism of demonstrating that the policy has been understood and implemented well across the school. Adding the responsible person for the policy. What the system will then do using that information is notify the responsible person that the policy is due for review. They're going to be the key person where largely most of the communication goes through. Okay, so let's go ahead and save that policy. We've now uploaded it, and that's going to be available on the screen here. Currently set as active. We haven't actually assigned any users yet. So this is the first stage. We've uploaded our policy into the system. What we're now going to do is show you how we implement the policy across our staff members. So let's go ahead and select the assign to users action. Another pop-up window. This is version 1 that we're implementing. How many days do assigned users have to review and acknowledge the policy? You can effectively set a time limit or an objective for your users, for your staff members to actually acknowledge the policy, and you can track all of that as part of the auditing capabilities within the platform. How do you want to assign this policy? We've created various mechanisms here, so you can assign by user group, by individual user, by role type. And what that means in practice is it's very easy and very simple to allocate policies to a particular group of people or a particular role. So let's say you want to send a new policy to governors to review. You might set up a governors group within the platform, so it's then one click to send to that group. Or perhaps there's a special educational needs group or role, and you want to send policies to just that particular group. And these rules help govern the automation that we've introduced into the system as well. So you can set up your own customizable rules where you say, okay, on review, send it to this group of people, or when we're implementing it, automatically send it to this group of people. So a lot of flexibility built into the system in that way. But just to demonstrate how it works today, I'll go ahead and allocate myself again. Click save and assign that policy. Notice how the tracking bar now says 0 out of 1. We've got some key dates in the system as well for this particular policy. So next review date, when was it first assigned, so on and so forth. What I'm going to do now is switch over to what a staff member would see if they were logging into the platform. So I've now gone to the My Credentials and Policy section, and I'm going to focus on policies again using the sub-navigation menu on the left-hand side. a staff member wouldn't necessarily see all the other sections in the platform. They may not have the privileges within the system to do so, and that would be based on how you set up the system and your various users in the platform. Again, very straightforward to do so. Notice how we've got the red icon over here advising the user that there is something to read and acknowledge in the policy section. They are also going to receive automatic emails from the system advising that there is an action to take. In the policies to read and acknowledge section, we've got a few here. Here's admissions version 1, not started. This is the assigned date. We can see at any time, if I click on this icon, we can see the policy that has been uploaded in Microsoft Word or PDF, whichever format that you want to use. We accept that. Now that I've opened that, notice how it goes to in progress. And again, that's part of the auditing capabilities of the system. We can track when things have been interacted with, and that's going to be important to demonstrate to, for example, Ofsted if they want to review the status of our policies. If I want to acknowledge this policy as a user, I can just click the secondary icon here. I get a confirmation and I'll click yes, I'm sure. Okay, and notice how the acknowledged policies goes into the admissions policy goes into the acknowledged policies section. Okay, one other piece of functionality I'll show you. I talked about the feedback on the policy capability, and that's a good way of demonstrating that the policy has been understood and implemented as well. If we collect that feedback from our staff members, very easy to give feedback on that particular policy, again, using the actions that are available in that particular table. So, for example, this staff member might say, let's simplify the language to make it easier for parents to understand. Perfectly valid feedback. We can upload evidence to support that feedback, perhaps suggestions of a new draft. That's all a possibility. And let's go ahead and save that feedback. Now, once we've done that, the responsible person for the policy is going to receive, again, more notifications advising that something has been completed, some feedback has been provided. And of course, if we go back to the policy management section now, as that school business manager or the responsible person, we can see that the admissions policy, based on the number of people that we assigned it to, which is 1, this has now gone to 100%. We've completed that particular version in terms of implementation. And if I go into the actions, I've also got the capability to view feedback on that policy. There's the collected feedback. Now, that's the implementation stage. Let's now move on to the review stage and actually improve our policy and make changes to it. So what I've actually just clicked on here is an AI review suggested changes capability. So what the AI is doing at the moment is it's taking your existing policy documentation, it's looking online, Department of Education, any latest guidance that has come through for those policies as well. It's also collecting the comments, the feedback that have been made from staff to create that new draft. Okay, so rather than actually typing that out yourself, in the space of about 15 to 20 seconds, what you're going to have is a draft that is available for you to effectively refine, and then you can upload version 2 into the platform. So there's the latest draft. We've got introduction, admissions number, so on and so forth. Okay, so what we'd be able to do is, of course, copy and paste that, put that into a new document, and that's going to save us a lot of time as well in terms of drafting that document. If we want to go through a review, we'll click on the trigger a review for this policy. Of course, the policy review date is the end of this week in this example, so we'd absolutely want to go through this process. Click to upload the file. Again, I've got version 2 already drafted, and we will activate a review. Okay, notice how when we upload the new version, we're archiving version 1. We keep all of that history, that implementation history in place. So again, when it comes to audit, you can demonstrate the understanding of policies, the version control to Ofsted or an auditor. Version 2 appears in draft form. because we might want to send that to governors first for a review and sign off. Now, again, once we've uploaded that process, we're going to go through the same process of implementation, right? So sending it to governors, sending it to our staff. But rather than reading the entire document, we also provide more AI capabilities. So, for example, view change summary. So if I click on this, AI has actually demonstrated or outlined the key changes between version 1 and version 2. Okay, so we've changed the admissions number, we've changed the sibling criteria, so on and so forth. Okay, so rather than reading the entire document, your governors may just be able to look at the changes, sign off based on that, and of course implementing it across your staff becomes easier because there's less information overall to digest. All of that is saving more and more time. Okay, all right, so that's the life cycle as far as that is concerned. Of course, the final kind of cherry on the top is the ability to extract policy audit data, policy user data, and then we've got the preview of the website embed as well. In terms of the policy audit data, that's going to pull out all of the implementation data, the latest dates, last review dates, next review dates, responsible persons on every single policy, every single version. So that's the one-click report to demonstrate readiness for that particular audit. And then in terms of the website embed as well, what we actually do is provide static links. So they're always available. You can place those links onto your website, and that means if a parent or anybody else goes to that particular site, they can click on a link and that will download the latest version of the policy that's available for them to read. So it's all updated within the platform automatically. Okay, so that's the policy management lifecycle, all wrapped in one place. Thank you for listening to this part of the demonstration. I'll now pass back to my colleague, John, just to summarize and round up.
Thank you, Martin. Let me just come back to the presentation. Sorry, apologies for this. Let me just. Okay. Apologies for that slight delay. So let's just conclude from what we've seen so far this afternoon. As you can see, the whole idea here is to provide the opportunity for a school to become significantly more proactive by having.
John, we're not seeing your slide. Sorry.
Okay, I apologize for that. Let's have a look. There we go.
That's it, yeah.
Fabulous. Sorry, again, I apologize for that. Opportunity here with this platform to become significantly more proactive around the visibility of what you're able to see in terms of where you're at, what confidence and protection that provides you, specifically around productivity benefits, the opportunity to, and hopefully you'll see this from based on what Martin has shown you today, creating a process under one single pane of glass that creates the opportunity for people to be spending significantly less time and getting the confidence of the overall governance, which of course has a knock-on effect with regards to the protection of risk and liabilities. That concludes the formal part, and so I'm now going to pass back over to Karen, who will wrap up and take the floor for questions.
Okay, does anybody have any questions? Raise the hand. Oh yes, so looks good. Obvious question, how much? Right, okay, so the price for about 50 users is about £1,000 a year. That includes support, training and setup. So it's about, if you look at about £1,000 per annum for up to 50 users. That's, but I mean, we will, we'll go in and have a look at how many users you need and all that sort of thing. But that includes support, training and all the setup and implementation of the system as well. Okay, yes, it is being recorded.
Karen, there is something I would like to mention, if I may. One of the things that Martin didn't actually discuss when he showed the platform was the credential aspects. This isn't just about policy management, it's also about tracking credentials and the continuing education that's required within that as well. And hopefully our audience today will want to take the opportunity to have a more in-depth demonstration and presentation on a one-to-one basis. And at that point, we can go through the credential elements in more detail.
Okay, we're getting a lot of questions about, John, do you count every member of staff as a user?
We do count every member of staff as a user, yes.
Yeah. So any member of staff that needs to access the policies, yes, that would be a user within there. So,
although one of the things I would say is that there are no limitations to the number of administrative users.
Okay. So what we intend to do now after this is to send out an email which has a bit of a brochure attached, which goes through what you've seen today. And then we'll do a follow-up with you just to see if you've got any further questions. So we'll send the email and we'll be in touch to do a follow-up, and then we'll see whether you want a demo or not. But there's absolutely no pressure. We're just here to support you. There is some more questions coming through. I can see. Can the cost be adjusted depending on the number of users? We would have less than 20. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. There are different bandings from in terms of the number of users and the cost that applies to that. And it could very well be as well that a school starts with utilizing the platform for a particular group of users and then builds on that over time, which clearly would build on the cost of it, but it does provide the ability to be able to add users as you go through an implementation process.
Does the system have sample policies?
I can take that one. So yes, it does. As part of the policy setup, we actually show a full list of policies, which ones are statutory, which ones need to go through governor's review, so on and so forth. So think of that almost like your compliance checklist. Have you got everything that you need in place set up within the platform? Yes, we aim to make it as easy as possible.
Okay. So as I said, we'll send the email, which will have a brochure attached, our contact details, and we will be in touch if you want to have a discussion about it. Just one last question. What do you mean by credentials? Can you give an example?
Yes. So safeguarding as an example, or a teaching qualification.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Have a good rest of the day, and we shall speak to you later. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks,
bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.